In my previous life, I squandered 6 years in a hollow marriage with Ryan, a man who treated me with cold indifference while I played the role of devoted wife. Determined to escape that misery, I resolved to divorce him, but fate intervened cruelly. A car accident stole my life that very day. When I opened my eyes, I was inexplicably back in my high school days, a time when Ryan was merely my fiancé, not yet my husband. This was my second chance, a divine opportunity to rewrite my future and avoid the mistakes of my past. But the universe had more surprises in store. Ryan, it seemed, had also been reborn, carrying memories of our failed marriage. Unlike before, he was now resolute in breaking our engagement to pursue Sophia, his delicate childhood sweetheart who clung to him with tearful pleas. As Sophia knelt before me in a crowded restaurant, begging me not to steal Ryan, his protective glare confirmed my suspicions. He remembered everything, just as I did. Her frail sobs and his accusing eyes painted me as the villain, yet I felt no guilt. This time, I had no intention of clinging to a man who'd never truly cared for me. Our families, bound by years of friendship, had arranged our engagement, and tonight's New Year's Eve dinner was meant to formalize it. But Ryan's determination to end things aligned perfectly with my own desires. I'd play along for now, keeping the peace for our parents, but I was done chasing a love that had only ever brought me pain. With both of us reborn, the game had changed. This time, I'd forge my own path, free from Ryan's shadow, and discover what life could be when I prioritized myself. Chapter 1: The New Year's Eve Showdown. The restaurant buzzed with festive cheer, but the air at our table was thick with tension. My parents, Ryan's family, and I sat around a polished mahogany table, the clink of cutlery punctuating strained small talk. Tonight was meant to seal my engagement to Ryan, a union born from our family's decades-long friendship in the military compound. But I knew better now. Ryan wasn't the man I'd once loved blindly. His sharp gaze darted to me, laced with resentment that confirmed my suspicions. He, too, had been reborn with memories of our failed marriage. As dessert was served, Ryan's mother broached the topic with a beaming smile. "The kids are grown now. It's time to set a date, don't you think?" Before I could respond, Ryan's wine glass hit the floor with a shattering clink. All eyes turned to him. He stood, his jaw tight, and bowed stiffly to my parents. "Mr. and Mrs. Carter, I've thought this through. I love someone else, Sophia. I promise to care for her forever. This engagement must end." The room froze. My mother's face hardened, but she remained silent. Ryan's mother gasped, her fork clattering against her plate. I set my napkin down, unfazed. In my past life, I'd have been devastated, but now? This was freedom. I caught Ryan's eye, his expression daring me to protest. Instead, I smiled faintly. "If that's your choice, Ryan, I respect it." His brows furrowed, clearly expecting a fight. Outside, Sophia waited, her frail frame shivering in the winter chill. She'd caused a scene earlier, kneeling and begging me not to steal Ryan. Now, Ryan rushed to her side, wrapping his jacket around her. "You shouldn't be out here, Sophia," he murmured, his tenderness starkly different from the coldness he'd shown me for years. I watched, detached, as his mother grabbed my arm. "Emily, don't take this to heart. You're already family." My mother stepped in, her voice icy. "Mrs. Thompson, my daughter doesn't need to beg for a husband. If Ryan's made his choice, we're done here." I nodded, grateful for her support. As we left, Ryan's mother wailed, but I felt only relief. Ryan's decision aligned perfectly with mine. This time, I wouldn't waste my life chasing a man who'd never valued me. Back at home, I stared at my reflection, resolve hardening. This was my second chance, and I'd seize it, not for Ryan, but for myself. The game had changed, and I was ready to play it on my terms. Chapter 2: A Past Life's Lessons. Back in my childhood bedroom, surrounded by posters and textbooks, I sifted through memories of my past life. 6 years married to Ryan had been a slow erosion of my spirit. I'd poured love into a man who saw me as a means to an end, my family's wealth, my father's company. His lukewarm affection had left me hollow, yet I'd clung to hope, believing I could change him. That hope died the night of the car accident, his voice on the phone distracting me as I crashed. Now, reborn, I saw clearly, Ryan had never been worth my sacrifice. I sat at my desk, flipping through my high school notebook. In my past life, I'd tanked my college entrance exam to attend the same university as Ryan, abandoning my dream of Tsinghua. What a fool I'd been, trading my future for a man who'd later admit he only married me for money. This time, I'd prioritize myself. I grabbed my textbooks, determined to reclaim the academic excellence I'd once forsaken. At school, Ryan's behavior had already shifted. He avoided me in the halls, his eyes flickering with a mix of guilt and defiance. I didn't care. Let him think I was pining, I was done playing his games. My focus was on studying, on building a life free from his shadow. But his subtle jabs, brushing past me with a sneer, whispering to Sophia when he thought I was watching, grated on me. He seemed frustrated by my indifference, as if he expected me to beg for his attention. One afternoon, I overheard him talking to a friend in the cafeteria. "Emily's acting weird. She's not even fighting the breakup. It's like she doesn't care." His tone was laced with irritation, and I smirked. Good. Let him stew. I wasn't the same naive girl from our past life. I joined my classmates at another table, laughing easily with Zach, a sharp-witted boy from my class. His easygoing nature was a stark contrast to Ryan's brooding intensity, and I welcomed the change. As I walked home, my phone buzzed, a text from my mom, checking in. She'd been my rock since the dinner, never pushing me to reconsider Ryan. "You deserve better," she'd said, and I believed her. This life, I'd chase my dreams, not a man. Ryan could have Sophia, I had bigger plans. The college entrance exams were a year away, and Tsinghua was calling. I wouldn't let anyone, especially Ryan, derail me again. Chapter 3, Sophia's Plea. The school courtyard was abuzz with students when Sophia cornered me again. Her delicate frame trembled, tears pooling in her eyes as she clutched my sleeve. "Emily, please," she whispered, her voice fragile but calculated. "Don't take Ryan from me. He's all I have." I stared at her, unimpressed. This was the same act she'd pulled at the restaurant, and I wasn't falling for it. Around us, curious students slowed their steps, drawn to the drama. I gently pried her hand off, keeping my voice calm. "Sophia, I've said this before, I'm not after Ryan. If he wants to be with you, that's his choice." Her lips quivered, but her eyes flicked to the crowd, gauging their reactions. She was playing the victim, and I wasn't about to be cast as the villain. Before I could walk away, Ryan stormed over, his face a mask of fury. "Emily, what's your problem? Can't you see she's upset?" His tone was sharp, echoing the resentment I'd heard in our past life. He wrapped an arm around Sophia, who leaned into him, sobbing softly. The crowd murmured, and I felt the weight of their stares. Ryan's eyes burned into mine, as if daring me to lash out. He was testing me, expecting the old Emily to crumble. Instead, I raised an eyebrow. "Ryan, if you have an issue, talk to me directly. Don't drag Sophia into this to make a scene." His jaw tightened, clearly thrown by my composure. In our past life, I'd have argued, pleaded, anything to keep him. Now, I didn't care. I turned to leave, but Sophia's voice cut through. "You're lying. You're just pretending you don't want him." I stopped, turning back with a cool smile. "Believe what you want, Sophia. I have better things to do. As I walked away, I heard Ryan mutter something to her, his voice low and soothing. Let them cling to their drama, I had no part in it. Later, in the library, Zach found me buried in my chemistry notes. Heard you had a run-in with the lovebirds, he teased, sliding into the seat across from me. I rolled my eyes. They're obsessed with making me the bad guy. It's exhausting. Zach grinned, tossing me a candy bar. Then don't play their game. You're killing it with your grades, focus on that. His words grounded me. Sophia's tears and Ryan's accusations were noise, nothing more. I had a future to build, and no amount of their theatrics would derail me. As I cracked open my textbook, I felt a quiet strength. This was my life now, and I was in control. Chapter 4: The Schoolyard Clash. The hallway outside Class 3 was a chaotic swirl of students when I heard raised voices. Pushing through the crowd, I saw Ryan at the center, his face flushed with righteous anger. Sophia stood beside him, tears streaming down her cheeks, her usual performance. The class monitor, a lanky boy named Chin, was pointing at them. Ryan, if you're so sure Sophia didn't lose the 800 yuan class fee, then you pay it. Ryan's expression faltered. In our past life, 800 yuan was pocket change to him, thanks to my family's wealth. Now, as a high schooler, it was a fortune. Sophia sniffled, "It's my fault, Ryan. I'll pay it back." Her voice was soft, but her eyes darted to the crowd, milking their sympathy. I leaned against a locker, curious to see how Ryan would handle this. His gaze landed on me, narrowing with contempt. "What's so funny, Emily? Here to gloat?" I blinked, caught off guard. "I'm just passing through. You're the one blocking the hall." His face darkened, clearly expecting me to grovel or offer to pay, like I might have in our past life. Instead, I shrugged. "If you're done, I have places to be." Ryan's fists clenched. "You're so smug, acting like you're above us. What's your game?" His tone carried the weight of our shared past. He knew I'd been reborn, and my indifference was unnerving him. I met his stare evenly. "No game, Ryan. I just don't care." The crowd whispered, sensing the tension. Sophia tugged at his arm, her voice quivering. "Ryan, let's just go." But Ryan wasn't done. "You think you can just walk away after everything?" he snapped. I raised an eyebrow. "After what?" "You ended the engagement. I'm moving on." "What's your problem?" His mouth opened, then closed, as if realizing he'd overplayed his hand. I pulled out my wallet, not to pay, but to hand my class fees to Zach, who'd just appeared. "Let's grab lunch," I said loudly, ignoring Ryan's glare. As we walked away, I heard Ryan reluctantly hand over crumpled bills to Chin. Sophia's soft sobs followed, but I didn't look back. In the cafeteria, Zach chuckled. "You really know how to push his buttons." I smirked. "He's doing that himself." Ryan's outburst confirmed he was rattled, and I wasn't the same Emily he could manipulate. My focus was clear: excel in school, secure my future, and leave Ryan's drama behind. Chapter 5: A New Ally. The school library was my sanctuary, its quiet stacks a refuge from Ryan's drama. I was deep into a math problem when Zach slid into the seat across from me, tossing a pencil onto my notebook. "You look like you're solving world hunger," he teased. I grinned, grateful for his easy humor. Zach was different, ambitious, grounded, and blissfully uninterested in the soap opera surrounding Ryan and Sophia. We'd been spending more time together, working on class projects and study groups. Unlike Ryan, Zach didn't carry the weight of a past life's grudges. He was just present. Heard about your hallway showdown, he said, leaning back. Ryan's losing it over you not caring. I rolled my eyes. He thinks I'm playing some grand scheme to win him back. Delusional. Zach laughed. Guy's got an ego the size of a planet. As we reviewed notes, I felt a lightness I hadn't known in my past life. Zach challenged me to think sharper, study harder, without the emotional baggage Ryan dragged everywhere. Later, as we walked to class, Ryan passed us, his arm around Sophia. His eyes locked onto Zach's hand brushing my shoulder, and his scowl deepened. What's this, Emily? Trying to make me jealous with him, he sneered. I laughed, genuinely amused. Ryan, not everything's about you. Zach's my friend. Deal with it. Zach smirked, slinging an arm over my shoulder. Yeah, man, chill. We've got a physics test to ace. Ryan's face reddened, but Sophia pulled him away, whispering something that made him soften. I shook my head. Let them cling to their drama. That evening, my mom invited Zach for dinner, charmed by his wit and manners. He's a good influence, she said, passing me the mashed potatoes. I nodded, realizing how much I valued his friendship. Ryan had always demanded my attention, but Zach just shared the moment. As we laughed over dessert, I felt a spark of hope. This life, I was building connections that mattered, ones that didn't hinge on a man who'd betrayed me. My phone buzzed, a text from Ryan, "You're fooling no one." I deleted it without replying. Let him stew. I had exams to crush and a future to claim, and Zach was proving to be the kind of ally I needed to get there. Chapter 6: The Rolls-Royce Incident. The school sports festival was in full swing, with students cheering and banners waving. I'd just finished a relay race when a sleek Rolls-Royce pulled up to the school gate, my family's car, the same one Ryan had coveted in our past life. I didn't care about cars, but he treated it like a trophy, driving it with a smug grin. Now, as I headed toward it, I saw Ryan freeze, his backpack slung over one shoulder. His eyes lit up with recognition, then narrowed with assumption. He strode toward the car, chest puffed out, as if it was his. Emily, really? Using this to get my attention, he called, loud enough for nearby students to turn. Before I could respond, the driver, a loyal employee named Mr. Chin, stepped out, glaring. Who are you, climbing into our young Mrs. car? Know your place. Ryan's face flushed crimson. Don't you recognize me? I'll have you fired, he snapped, his past life arrogance surfacing. Mr. Chin laughed coldly. A beggar like you? This is Miss Carter's car. Step back. Ryan spun to me, fuming. Emily, cut the act. You're just flaunting this to get me back. I crossed my arms, incredulous. Ryan, this is my car. I'm going home. What's it got to do with you? His jaw tightened, clearly rattled by my calm dismissal. Students whispered, some snickering at his embarrassment. I slid into the back seat, and Zach joined me, his house nearby. Dude's unhinged, he muttered, shaking his head. I laughed. He thinks I'm pining for him. Pathetic. As we drove off, I saw Ryan in the rearview mirror, fists clenched, Sophia tugging at his arm. His humiliation was his own doing, yet he'd blame me. Fine. Let him. At home, my mom asked about the festival, and I mentioned Ryan's outburst. She frowned. That boy's got no shame. You're better off without him. I nodded, feeling lighter. Ryan's delusion that I was chasing him only proved how little he knew me now. I wasn't the Emily who'd begged for his love. I was focused, on school, on Tinghua, on myself. Zach texted later, joking about Ryan's car heist fail. I smiled, grateful for his humor. Ryan could cling to his fantasies, but I was moving forward, one step at a time, toward a future that was mine alone. Chapter 7: Academic Ambitions. The classroom buzzed with pre-exam nerves, but I was in my element, hunched over my notes. In my past life, I'd thrown away my shot at Tsinghua University to follow Ryan to a mediocre college. I'd left exam questions blank, sabotaging my future for a man who'd later betray me. The memory stung, but it fueled my resolve. This time, I'd ace the college entrance exams and claim the life I deserved. My study sessions had become a ritual, late nights with textbooks, flashcards, and coffee. Zach often joined me, his competitive streak pushing me to sharpen my focus. "You're a machine," he'd say, grinning, when I solved a complex physics problem. His encouragement was a stark contrast to Ryan's indifference in our past life, when he'd mocked my ambitions as pointless. Now, I was proving him wrong. At school, Ryan's presence was a minor annoyance. He'd glare when I passed, whispering to Sophia about my schemes. I ignored him, but one day, he cornered me in the hall. "What's with the nerd act, Emily? Trying to impress someone?" His tone dripped with disdain, but I saw the flicker of unease in his eyes. My success was unsettling him. "Ryan, I'm studying for me, not you," I said coolly. "Maybe you should try it sometime." His face darkened, but before he could retort, Sophia appeared, tugging his arm. "Ryan, let's go. She's not worth it." I rolled my eyes and walked away, their drama fading into background noise. My hard work paid off when I scored top marks on a mock exam, earning praise from our teachers. "Ting was lucky to have you in their sights," my homeroom teacher said. I beamed, the validation sweet after years of self-doubt. At lunch, Zach raised his soda in a mock toast. "To Emily, future Tsinghua star." I laughed, clinking my bottle against his. That evening, my dad called me to his study. "I'm proud of you, Emily. Forget that Thompson boy. You're destined for bigger things." His words warmed me, erasing the sting of Ryan's rejection at the New Year's dinner. I wasn't just moving on from him, I was building a future he couldn't touch. As I returned to my room, my phone lit up with a message from Ryan. "You think you're better than me now?" I deleted it, unfazed. Let him stew in his insecurities. My eyes were on Tsinghua, and nothing, not Ryan, not Sophia, would stop me. Chapter 8: The Jewelry Store Encounter. The city mall was crowded with weekend shoppers, laughter echoing off the polished floors. I was with a few classmates, browsing for school supplies, when I spotted Ryan and Sophia outside a jewelry store. Sophia's face was pinched, her voice carrying a whining edge. "You promised me that necklace 6 months ago, Ryan. If you don't want to spend money on me, just say it." Ryan looked strained, his hands stuffed in his pockets. "Sophia, it's not that. My part-time job money went to your medical bills. I'm tapped out." His tone was gentle, but I caught the frustration beneath it. Sophia pouted, then closed her eyes at his request, expecting a grand gesture. When she opened them, Ryan held out a cheap silver necklace, the kind sold at street stalls for 20 yuan. Her smile vanished, replaced by a look of barely concealed disappointment. I stifled a laugh, turning away before they noticed me. In our past life, I'd thought Sophia was Ryan's white moonlight, the untouchable love he'd sacrifice everything for. Now, seeing her sulk over a trinket, I realized how shallow their bond was. Ryan's sentimentality blinded him to her dissatisfaction, and I found it oddly satisfying. As my friends and I moved on, Zach nudged me. "Caught the show?" he whispered, grinning. "Yeah," I replied. Not exactly the fairy tale he sold me in our past life. We laughed, heading to a bookstore. Later, I overheard Sophia's voice again, sharper now. Ryan, if you really cared, you'd find a way. Her words dripped with manipulation, and I wondered if Ryan was starting to see it. Back home, I reflected on the encounter. Sophia's demands were draining Ryan, just as his neglect had drained me in our past life. I felt no pity, only clarity. I'd wasted years on a man who'd chosen her over me, only to see their love crumble under the weight of reality. My phone buzzed, a text from Zach about our study group. I smiled, grateful for friendships that didn't demand my soul. That night, I reviewed my Tsinghua application materials, my resolve stronger than ever. Ryan and Sophia could cling to their drama, but I was done with it. My future was mine to shape, and every step, every exam, every choice, was bringing me closer to a life free from their chaos. Let them chase cheap necklaces, I was chasing my dreams. Chapter 9: Family Pressures. The living room was quiet, save for the soft clink of teacups as my parents and I sat together. Since the New Year's Eve disaster, they'd been my staunchest allies, never questioning my decision to move on from Ryan. But that evening, Ryan's mother showed up unannounced, her face etched with desperation. "Emily, please," she pleaded, clutching my hands. "Don't give up on Ryan. He's just confused. You're already my daughter-in-law in my heart." I gently pulled away, my voice steady. "Mrs. Thompson, Ryan made his choice. I'm not forcing him to do anything." Her eyes welled up, but my mother stepped in, her tone firm. "Our daughter deserves someone who values her. This engagement is over." Mrs. Thompson's shoulders slumped, and she left, muttering apologies. Later, my dad pulled me aside. "I never cared about Ryan's background," he said. "I only wanted him to treat you right. Clearly, he can't." His support grounded me, erasing the lingering guilt from our family's long friendship. I hugged him, grateful for their unwavering belief in me. At school, Ryan's behavior grew erratic. He'd glare when I passed, as if my happiness was a personal affront. Sophia, meanwhile, clung to him, her frail act wearing thin. I overheard classmates whispering about her, how she'd cry to get her way, how Ryan was struggling to keep up with her demands. I stayed above it, focusing on my studies and my growing friendship with Zach. One day, Ryan's mother called my mom, begging for a meeting to fix things. My mom shut it down, her voice icy over the phone. "Your son humiliated my daughter in front of everyone. We're done." I smiled, overhearing her. Their loyalty gave me strength. Ryan could cling to Sophia, but I was free. That evening, Zach came over to study, and we laughed over physics problems until midnight. As he left, he grinned. "You're unstoppable, Emily." Ryan's got no idea what he lost. His words lingered, not because I needed validation, but because they reminded me I was on the right path. Ryan's family might pressure me, but I had my own backing me up. My future was bright, and no amount of tears or tantrums from Ryan or his mother would dim it. I opened my textbook, ready to tackle the next chapter, both in my studies and my life. Chapter 10: The Sports Festival. The sports festival was a riot of color and noise, with students competing under a bright spring sky. I was on the relay team with Zach, our teamwork seamless as we passed the baton. Ryan, on a rival team, kept glancing my way, his competitive streak obvious. He'd always hated losing, especially to me. In our past life, I'd let him win to keep the peace. Not anymore. During the 400-meter race, Ryan pushed himself to outrun Zach, but tripped, sprawling in the dirt. The crowd gasped, some laughing, as Sophia rushed to his side, fussing dramatically. I crossed the finish line with Zach, our team taking first. Ryan's glare burned into me as he dusted himself off, but I only grinned at Zach. "Nice one," I said, high-fiving him. Later, during a break, Ryan approached, his face tight. You think you're hot stuff, winning like that? I shrugged. It's a race, Ryan. Not everything's about you. His eyes narrowed, but Zach stepped in, smirking. Maybe focus on not eating dirt next time, man. The crowd nearby snickered, and Ryan stormed off, Sophia trailing after him. The festival ended with our class taking top honors, thanks to our teamwork. Zach and I celebrated with sodas, laughing about Ryan's flop. He's trying so hard to one-up you, Zach said. It's pathetic. I nodded, realizing Ryan's need to prove himself was his own burden, not mine. His past life arrogance, thinking he could control me, was crumbling in the face of my indifference. That evening, my mom asked about the festival, beaming when I told her about our win. You're shining, Emily, she said. Don't let that boy dim your light. Her words stuck with me as I reviewed my notes later. The festival had shown me how far I'd come, confident, capable, and surrounded by people who lifted me up. Ryan's stumbles were his own, and I wasn't here to catch him. My focus was on the future, exams, Tinghua, and a life I was building without him. As I closed my textbook, I felt a quiet thrill. The race wasn't just on the track, it was my life, and I was winning. Chapter 11, Sophia's Scheme. Whispers followed me through the school halls, a low hum of gossip that hadn't been there before. By lunch, I learned why. Sophia had spread a rumor that I was spreading lies about her to break her and Ryan up. Classmates shot me curious glances, some skeptical, others sympathetic. I sighed, unsurprised. Sophia's tearful act was her weapon, and she wielded it well. At the cafeteria, Zach slid into the seat beside me. Heard the latest? Sophia's telling everyone you're a jealous ex trying to ruin her life. I rolled my eyes. Predictable. She's desperate for attention. Zach grinned. She's losing her grip. Everyone's starting to see through her. He was right, several classmates had approached me, saying Sophia's story didn't add up. That afternoon, Sophia confronted me outside the library, her eyes red but calculated. Why are you spreading lies about me, Emily? I just want to be with Ryan. Her voice was loud, drawing a crowd. I kept my tone even. Sophia, I haven't said a word about you. If you've got issues, that's on you. Her lips trembled, but I saw the flicker of frustration. She'd expected me to lash out, giving her more fuel. Ryan appeared, predictably, his arm around her. Emily, stop harassing her, he snapped. I crossed my arms. Harassing? I'm just trying to study. Maybe check your facts before accusing me. A few classmates murmured in agreement, and Ryan's face reddened. Sophia clung to him, but her act was faltering, people were tiring of her drama. Later, I addressed the rumors in class, calmly stating I had no interest in Ryan or Sophia's relationship. My honesty won over most doubters, and Sophia's credibility took a hit. Zach high-fived me after. You handled that like a pro. I smiled, feeling stronger. Sophia's schemes couldn't touch me. I had allies, focus, and a clear path. That night, I reviewed my Tinghua application, my resolve unshaken. Sophia could play her games, but I was above them. Ryan's blind defense of her only showed how little he'd changed. I wasn't the Emily who'd crumble under pressure. My future was too bright for their shadows, and I'd keep walking toward it, unfazed by their petty ploys. Chapter 12, Ryan's Regret. Ryan's demeanor had shifted. His usual swagger was gone, replaced by a restless edge. I noticed it in the cafeteria, where he sat with Sophia, his eyes darting to me as I laughed with Zach. Sophia's demands were wearing him thin, her medical bills, her tantrums, her need for constant reassurance. In our past life, I'd been the one funding her care, unknowingly enabling their bond. Now, Ryan was facing the cost alone. One day, he lingered after class, watching me pack my bag. "You're different," he said abruptly, his voice low. "What's your deal, Emily? Why aren't you fighting for us?" I paused, meeting his gaze. "There is no us, Ryan. You made that clear." His jaw tightened, a flicker of doubt in his eyes. "You're just pretending you don't care to mess with me." I laughed softly. "You're not that important, Ryan. I've got my own life now." His face darkened, but he didn't argue. Sophia called him from the hall, and he left, shoulders slumped. Later, Zach told me he'd overheard Ryan and Sophia arguing, her pushing for expensive gifts, him snapping about his empty wallet. "He's starting to crack," Zach said, smirking. Ryan's regret was subtle but growing. He'd see me excelling, top grades, new friends, a confidence he couldn't shake, and it gnawed at him. In our past life, he'd taken my devotion for granted, but now my indifference was a mirror, reflecting his mistakes. At a school assembly, I was called up for an academic award, and his applause was half-hearted, his eyes conflicted. That evening, my mom noticed my mood. "You're thriving, Emily," she said. "That boy's realizing what he lost." I nodded, but Ryan's regrets were his burden, not mine. I was focused on Tinghua, on building a life free from his chaos. As I studied later, his text popped up, "Are you really over me?" I deleted it, my heart steady. Let him wrestle with his doubts. I was done carrying his weight, and my future was brighter without him. Chapter 13, The Exam Triumph. The exam hall was silent, save for the scratch of pencils and the occasional cough. I'd spent months preparing, my nights a blur of notes and practice tests. In my past life, I'd thrown away my shot at Tinghua for Ryan, but now, every answer I marked was a step toward reclaiming my future. When the results came, I'd placed in the top 3 of our year, a personal victory that felt like redemption. Classmates congratulated me, and Zach threw an arm around my shoulders. "Ting was basically yours," he said, grinning. I laughed, the weight of my past life's failures lifting. At school, my success was the talk of the halls, but Ryan's reaction was different. He stood by his locker, his face a mix of envy and frustration. "Big deal," he muttered as I passed. "Doesn't mean anything." I ignored him, but later, he cornered me outside. "You think you're better than me now?" His voice was sharp, but there was a crack in it, his own mediocre grades were a sore spot. "Ryan, I'm not competing with you," I said calmly. "I'm just living my life." He scoffed, but his eyes betrayed him, my success was a reminder of his own stagnation. Sophia, predictably, was at his side, her expression sour. She tried to undermine me with rumors, but my exam results had silenced her critics. Classmates now saw her as petty, and Ryan's blind defense of her was costing him friends. At lunch, Zach leaned in. "He's spiraling. Keeps trying to one-up you, but he's got nothing." I nodded, focusing on my meal. Ryan's struggles weren't my concern. That night, my parents threw a small celebration for my results. "You're making us proud," my dad said, raising a glass. Their support fueled me. Ryan's envy, Sophia's schemes, they were background noise. I was on track for Tinghua, and no one could take that from me. As I reviewed my notes later, I felt unstoppable. My past life's mistakes were just that, past. The future was mine, and I was ready to claim it. Chapter 14, A Confrontation. The school courtyard was quiet after hours, the setting sun casting long shadows. I was heading to the library when Ryan stepped into my path, his face a storm of emotions. "We need to talk," he said, his voice low but urgent. I crossed my arms, wary. "What's there to talk about?" He glanced around, ensuring we were alone. You know, don't you? About before. His words confirmed what I'd suspected. He remembered our past life, every bitter moment of our marriage. I nodded, unflinching. Yeah, I know. So what? His eyes widened, thrown by my calm. Then why are you acting like this? Like I don't matter? I laughed, sharp and cold. Because you don't, Ryan. You chose Sophia, humiliated me, and now you're mad I'm not chasing you? Get over yourself. His fists clenched, but I saw the flicker of guilt. You're trying to ruin things with Sophia, he accused. Spreading lies, turning people against her. I stepped closer, my voice steady. I haven't said a word about her. If your relationship's falling apart, that's on you too. His face paled, the truth hitting hard. In our past life, he'd blamed me for his choices, but now, I wasn't playing his game. You used me, I continued. For money, for status. I died because of you, Ryan. You don't get to play victim now. He froze, my mention of the accident striking a nerve. I didn't mean, he started, but I cut him off. Save it. I'm done with you. I walked away, heart pounding but head high. He didn't follow. Later, Zach found me in the library. Heard you laid into Ryan. You okay? I nodded, smiling faintly. Better than ever. That night, I reflected on the confrontation. Ryan's guilt was his to carry, not mine. I'd spoken my truth, and it freed me. My focus was on my future, Tinghua, new friendships, a life unburdened by his chaos. He could cling to Sophia, but I was moving forward, stronger than ever. Chapter 15, A New Beginning. Graduation loomed, a milestone marking the end of one chapter and the start of another. My acceptance letter from Tinghua University arrived, a crisp envelope that felt like a ticket to freedom. I'd done it, top exam scores, relentless focus, and a refusal to let Ryan's drama derail me. At the ceremony, I stood on stage, accepting an award for academic excellence, my parents beaming in the crowd. Ryan was there, too, seated with Sophia, his expression a mix of defeat and longing. He'd barely passed his exams, his part-time job and Sophia's demands draining him. Afterward, he approached me, hesitant. Emily, can we talk? I raised an eyebrow, unimpressed. What now, Ryan? He shuffled, voice low. I messed up. Maybe we could try again? I laughed, not cruelly, but with clarity. Ryan, you made your choice. I've made mine. I'm not the girl you used in our past life. I'm done. His face fell, but I felt no pity. He'd had his chance, and I'd given him too many in the past. Sophia watched from a distance, her expression unreadable. Let them figure out their mess, I was out. Zach joined me, slinging an arm over my shoulder. Ready for Tinghua? He asked, grinning. Born ready, I replied, matching his smile. We'd both been accepted, and I looked forward to exploring this new chapter with him. My parents hugged me, their pride palpable. You've become someone extraordinary, my mom said, tears in her eyes. As I packed my room that summer, I found an old photo of Ryan and me from our past life. I tore it up, letting the pieces fall. That Emily was gone, replaced by someone stronger, wiser. Tinghua waited, along with friendships, opportunities, and a future I'd built myself. Ryan's regrets, Sophia's schemes, they were shadows, fading as I stepped into the light. I closed my suitcase, ready for the life I'd earned, free from the past and full of promise.